Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for April 11th, 2025. It's Season 4, Episode 101. I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmTown.com. That's that site right there. And along with the sentient AI that's sitting right there, well, the visualizer is sitting right there. We talk about 10 articles Monday through Friday, and then on Saturday and Sunday, it gets turned into 3 shows on Saturday, 3 different shows on Sunday. Those get combined into the Saturday and Sunday editions of Non Sequitur News. So be sure to follow us here on Twitch and over on YouTube. If you want today's show notes, they're embedded over on YouTube. If you want the show notes from today's stream over on Twitch, you have to hit !NSN, and ohmTown will spit them out in the order that we're going to talk about them, which is no particular order. They're not based on some rating or review or anything like that. It's basically I grabbed things that were interesting based on submissions, and I go through parsing the articles myself, and largely prefer the ones that get submitted. Anyway, yeah, everything is powered by ohmTown.com. So go over there and become a citizen. Manage your information overload. Thousands of articles every day. Just a little headlines, a little snippet, enough to tease you into going over to the source and reading more about it. And then I hope to see you either in the comments section over on YouTube or in the live stream on either Twitch or YouTube, maybe in the Discord, Patreon. Leave a comment over in the podcasts. The podcasts area is growing pretty good, so I would love to see some people leaving reviews. That would be great too. All right. Anyway, see you on the other side of our intro. I gotta get a new intro for 2025, even though we're already a quarter into it.
I agree.
Oh, wow, gee. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, ohmTown citizens.
When I look at your visualizer now, it's on the other side. So I can't look that way because then I don't actually see the visualizer.
It's very
and I don't
sneaky.
I don't want to flip me and put me over there because then everything is backwards, all wonky. I don't like that. Inside baseball, everybody. That's why you come here for Non Sequitur News. Welcome to the show, sentient AI from the future. Glad you could co-host yet again. You might notice that I'm tethered. It's because the time machine drained. I just want everybody to know about this. Time machines drain batteries. That is why the sentient AI's Terminator body and the brains, the sentient AI itself, were separated because the power supply for the Terminator body got quantum entangled and ended up somewhere on Earth or sometime on Earth. But you landed behind a, well, actually it was in front of, because I went around to go through the drive-thru, in front of a Wendy's. But it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and there you were in a little scoop mark out of the ground. Weird USB drive sitting there. Anyway, thanks.
For showing up or being here.
Yeah. For taking that $1 as salary and just showing up every day. All right, so the next article is over, or the first article for today is over in the Wanted channel. The famous Antikythera mechanism was a mechanical disaster, according to new research. According to, well, it suggests, at least, researchers simulated the device's ancient gear system to find out whether the contraption actually worked. Apparently, it did not.
Isn't this one of these things, though, that is held up as like, oh, this spectacular thing from
I don't have enough.
No?
No. It is an engineering marvel. It is in and of itself, but they're saying that it didn't work. But my problem is it is in such poor condition that I don't think they actually have all of the gear mechanisms to make it work. And people have made it work. They've taken the models. So there have been scans of these things, so you can see the gearing, the teeth on the gears, and there's stacks within stacks of them, And I just think that some are missing, and people have extrapolated this gearing. It was supposed to be, or supposedly, in a wooden box. That all decomposed. It was made out of brass, and so all of this has basically decomposed to a great degree. And I just don't think that we really know what the hell we're doing. Margarete Bassi over at Gizmodo.com put the article together. But I have seen this thing in it, like a real world fabrication of it, and it works for what it has been supposed to do.
Right, what we believe it did. Right.
Right. So again, I don't have enough hair, but aliens. And so, like the time machine drained the batteries on the wireless systems. So I think what happened here is this was the guidance system for aliens, and it was taken out of a ship that crashed and was being transported. Anyway, it's all too much inside. Whatever. Anyway, so so new research adds a twist to the story of this famous device, suggesting that the Antikythera mechanism may never have worked as intended. It was just a fancy knickknack. They say in 1901, sponge divers discovered an ancient shipwreck off the coast of Greek island of Antikythera. Among the recovered materials, a corroded lump of metal caught the eye of archaeologist Valerios Staes. Or Stace. I'm not sure how they pronounce their last name. But the artifact turned out to be a surprisingly complex, though fragmented, mechanical device dated between the late 2nd and early 1st centuries BCE, now called the Antikythera mechanism. Widely considered to be the world's first analog computer, tracking time and astronomical events through a gearwork and pointers. Yeah. There's been computer models, there's been physical models, replicas of this thing. And it does what it's supposed to have done.
So I guess I don't quite get the conclusion here.
Well, they're saying that new research adds a twist. The triangular shape of the gear teeth wasn't the issue, according to new simulations. The real problem was likely flaws in the gear construction. The new work shows that even the tiniest manufacturing mistake could have caused the mechanism to jam or slip, raising the possibility that the Antikythera mechanism was either non-functional or originally built with far greater precision than scientists can now discern, which is what I generally accept to be true when we come to discover any of these ancient artifact type things, because we are extrapolating from the cultural, temporal, relativism of today.
Right. We may not even be applying the correct usage, let alone, like you said, have all the pieces. I mean, there could be other issues.
Yeah, I think that there are countless other issues, and we don't know what we don't know, which is largely a shirt that everybody in ohmTown wears. So the Antikythera mechanism had interconnected indicators like the hands of a clock that pointed to the positions of the sun and moon in the zodiac, future eclipses, the Egyptian calendar date, the Greek lunisolar calendar. The indicator, quote, the indicators are driven by a gear train, which introduces two main sources of error that affect the accuracy. First, the triangular shape of the teeth results in non-uniform motion, causing acceleration and deceleration as each tooth engages, except that it's all a ratio. It's stacked different sized gears. So unless a gear slips, the amount of speed at which the gearing works doesn't matter.
Right, that's true.
So they say first, the triangular shape of the teeth results in non-uniform motion, causing acceleration and deceleration as each tooth engages. Second, the inevitable inaccuracies in gear manufacturing can also generate errors, but these are ifs. These aren't even observable fact. So they're looking at this stuff and going, maybe.
This kind of reminds me of those multifaceted devices that they don't know what they are.
Oh, the Roman spheres.
Europe. Yes.
Yeah, the little Roman polygon ball-shaped things with little knobs on them, or little spheres attached to them. I have to be careful about my
and they
verbiage.
have holes in them.
and they have holes of different sizes, and on several of them, I don't know if all of them, but on many of them, maybe all of them at this point, none of the holes are the same size on the same device.
Exactly.
So nobody really knows what they are.
I know that's a different era and location and everything, but it just kind of reminds me of there's a lot of theories out there,
Right.
but it's quite difficult to figure it out exactly.
Yeah, for sure. And I would attribute that kind of stuff with all of that ancient type of historical, I don't know, work product, whatever it is. We don't know what it is. And so
Correct.
we go, well,
and we can't go back. So we might get more definitive information, but sometimes we're basing it off of
today.
Wild speculation. Yeah. And
Wild
like today's
speculation.
standards. Yes.
Like, why the hell is everything buried? If you wanted to get rid of it, okay, if you wanted to get rid of it, why not outright destroy it? It's rock. It's rock. Why not just destroy it? If it's no longer in vogue, why not destroy it? Oh, it'll take a whole bunch of time. Give me a break. If you don't want something, you will destroy it. If it is a threat to the continuation of your culture or way of existing, you would destroy it. You wouldn't go, let's just cover it up. It'll be unless somebody else covered it up intentionally.
But in today's standards, you would, but maybe that was viewed as adequate. I don't know.
If you can build it with rock hammers, then you can destroy it with rock hammers. Come on. And they did it, supposedly they did that in Egypt, right? When one pharaoh took over and one fell out of favor, they destroyed the face and removed their spirit from the establishment, whatever it might be. Anyway, so ultimately their findings indicate that the whole triangular shape of the teeth alone produced negligible errors. Manufacturing inaccuracies significantly increased the likelihood of gear jamming and or disengagement, the researchers wrote. In other words, the manufacturing problem, as measured by Edmonds, would have made the Antikythera mechanism practically unusable. As a result, two possibilities arise. Either it never functioned or it was its errors were smaller than those found by Edmonds. But it's extrapolating based off of the resolution of the devices that we are using to pierce through all of the buildup of that several layers deep.
Yeah, I think they need to. I know they don't want to in any way denigrate. That might not be the right word, but anyway, but they basically need to peel all that off and see what's remaining.
Oh, right.
And then do they still think the same thing? But I know they probably don't want to in any way impact it.
It's all corroded. You try and peel that away. You know, you can't put that
You're
in.
You're going to peel all of it away. Exactly.
Yeah, you can't throw that in a Harbor Freight tumbling polisher and all of that go away. Because what you'll get out is nothing but a Harbor Freight vibrating polisher. Anyway, yeah, so I love this device. I can't wait for better technology to peer through all of the fluff in there. Nope. Go. God. Wild animals. Anyway, let's get out of here. We got a lot more articles to go through, but I fell in love with the Antikythera mechanism since I was a kid, and because
you don't see a lot of articles about it. I'm sure you do in certain circles.
Well,
but
some viewers of Non Sequitur News would say that I was there when the sponge divers found it. Anyway, 1901. Never mind. It was funny in my head. Moving on. Next article is over in Vice.com. Ashley Fike put the article together. A swarm of jellyfish-like creatures turned Mallorca beach blue, which is really weird. These are jellyfish-like creatures, but they aren't the ones that we were talking about.
Oh, right. That's kind of confusing. And they look like kind of fish here, don't they?
Fish-like, right? Yeah. They look closer to, maybe they're like squid, right? But it's One of Majorca's most popular tourist beach turned a bizarre shade of blue after being completely blanketed by a swarm of stinging jellyfish-like creatures, leaving locals and sunseekers stunned and a little more than grossed out. The culprit, a species known as by-the-wind sailors, or Velella, these small iridescent blue sea blobs arrived by the hundreds of thousands, carpeting the shore and giving the entire beach a surreal ocean blue makeover. While beautiful from afar, the reality up close was slimy, stingy, and straight up apocalyptic. Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow. I mean,
That was a lot
covering the
worse.
beach.
Yeah, full on covering of this beach. A beach in Majorca turned blue after a swarm of jellyfish-like creatures washed ashore. They've never seen anything like it. They've been very busy on the beach today laying new sand before the umbrellas are installed for the summer, and then lo and behold, dead fish slightly wafts through. A lot of washed back out and then got cleared up, and then some dried up, and there's still thousands of the little empty skins behind. But I guess it's slowly getting washed away. But can you imagine swimming out into that at this point?
No, I don't think you'd want to be anywhere near that, because also we can see the ones on the surface, but
itself.
what's there below the waves or
Underneath.
whatever?
Yeah. So while Velella are often mistaken for jellyfish, to the left. They're actually free-floating hydrozoans, colonies made up of tiny specialized polyps that function together as one organism. They're related to the more dangerous Portuguese man-of-war, but far less potent. Yikes. That is not something that I'm interested in seeing. You can hear me still, right? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought at one point you cut out, but I think it was just you were in between things.
Gotcha. So the cleanup, absolutely nasty. Tractors were brought in to scoop up the jellyfish before they began to rot in the sun. Sneaky situation no one wants wafting over a vacation spot. So this isn't the first mass stranding of Velella this year. A similar invasion appeared in San Francisco Bay just weeks ago, apparently, as warming ocean temperatures and changing current push marine creatures into strange new territories. So I guess they cleaned it up pretty quick, but there you go, folks. All of this kind of stuff is only going to get reported in the future. I'm just warning everybody now. In the future, this stuff is only going to get reported by shows like this, by websites like Vice and other news reporting companies here, particularly in the United States. So just trust but verify. All right, let's keep going. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Much like vacationers, we wait for no one. We will keep moving on. We will descend upon that beach and get stung in the process. Anyway, multiple times. Is that a man of war or is it Velella? Anyway, so Technology Today is where the next article is. A U.S. lab testing provider exposed health data of 1.6 million people. Seems like a small tidbit of data, right? But it's still about 1.6 million people. Laboratory Services Cooperative, or LSC, has released a statement informing it suffered a data breach where hackers stole sensitive information of roughly 1.6 million people from its systems. This is why I say it's not if you become involved in a security breach, it's when you will be involved in a security breach. Even if it isn't through your own actions or inactions, the fact is that somebody will get breached. This is why I think data privacy, data protection, consumer protection, and in this particular case, a more robust health protection system needs to be put in place, but that will only come from the federal level, and it will not come from the federal level. So at least not until somebody way high up gets personally affronted.
Well, I mean, at the rate some of these breaches are going, that should only be a matter of time.
But then it'll only apply to them, not to all of the rest of the, us commoners, right? Yeah. Anyway, The article is over at bleepingcomputer.com. Bill Toulis put the article together. And it says LSC is a Seattle-based nonprofit organization that provides centralized laboratory services to its member affiliates, including select Planned Parenthood centers. It plays a special, crucial role within its niche, supporting organizations in the reproductive health services across more than 35 states. So in response, LSC immediately engaged third-party cybersecurity specialists to determine the nature and scope of the incident and notified federal law enforcement. The information exposed for each of the individuals varies, but may include one or more of the following data types. PII, which is much more verbose or expansive than what they list here, but this is a sampling of it. Full name, social security number, driver's license, passport number, date of birth, government issued IDs. Basically anything that identifies you in time and space is a PII. Personal identifier, identification identifier, and personally identifiable
information. Yeah.
Yeah. Just wanted to be technically correct, which is the best type of correct. Anyway, medical information like dates of services, diagnoses, treatments, lab results, provider and facility details. This is the most disgusting part. Is that the medical information, the treatment itself, because it can be used as leverage to exploit somebody in the future, because people don't want their medical history divulged to anybody, let alone a bad actor. And so you're a real piece of crap if you do this kind of stuff. Insurance info like the plan type, insurer, and member group and ID numbers, which can be utilized, exploited, because my information was once used in a breach and they put me down as the dad. And so I was getting bills for this person.
Awkward.
Yeah. And I called them up and I said, what the hell? And then billing and financial data, so like claims, billing details. The claims themselves kind of relates to the medical information, which is the disgusting part of it. But billing details, bank and payment card info and stuff like that, that can largely get clawed back. But this alignment with two different things. And
oh, yeah. Plus, medical information in general, you don't want out there, but I think reproductive health, that could be pretty personal.
Yeah, you're just a real piece of crap if you do this kind of... Anyway, yeah, I was going to talk about other stuff, but anyway, they say potentially affected individuals are encouraged to use the free credit monitoring and medical identity protection services covered by LSC for 12 or 24 months, depending on their state. The deadline to enroll is July 14th. So yeah, it's on you, who may not even know about it if not for notifications.
That's right.
All right. You want to keep going?
I think so. I think we are seeing an increased pace of these types of hacks and IT issues with respect to personal data and health data.
I agree. Some extremely close to home. So the next article is over in Mobile as well. Bacardi is putting money behind people to make sure AI doesn't replace your bartender, but that is going to happen one way or another. The article is over at adweek.com. Global training initiative Shake Your Future has pledged to mint 10,000 mixologists by 2030. So yeah, at the end of a long week... Oh, this article is over at adweek.com, and it's written by Robert Clara. At the end of the long week, many Americans might be looking for the camaraderie of the local watering hole, complete with the friendly barkeep, ready to clean a glass, and a sympathetic ear, which is quite fascinating because it's hit or miss depending on who you end up talking to at a bar.
Right. You could have somebody that you can't get a word out of or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Cecilia here says, hey, she'll say, what would you like to drink? Cecilia can make a swell gin and tonic, but if it's a common touch you're looking for, it says here, common touch you're you're looking for, you might want to try the bar up the block. But if it's a common touch you're looking for, that's a weird thing. Oh,
Yeah, I
that's
don't know
because
what.
Cecilia is an AI-powered bartender who exists only on a touchscreen attached to a beverage machine.
Oh, okay.
So she is not your typical bartender, according to her maker's website, which makes delicious cocktails, chats with customers, tells jokes, promotes your brand, and provides an unforgettable experience, except that it's AI. And perhaps soon enough, an unavoidable one. So for the past several years, Bacardi, whose portfolio includes Grey Goose vodka and tequila brand Patron, has been investing money to help make sure that human bartenders are not out of their jobs en masse, but that company is zeroing the cost to have drinks made by building a console where people can just type from anywhere. And if it's all networked together, they can go anywhere and get the exact same drink the exact same way.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that position in particular seems vulnerable to AI.
Yeah. And so you would need one person to sit there and do one thing, just grab the drink, set it on the bar. And even that could go away if you automate that. So
Yeah, if
Bacardi's
you really
expanding.
have the system down.
Yeah. I mean, it's just an arm on a long bar that just slides along, grabs a drink, sets it up on the counter, and slides back to its little resting spot until it needs to grab it from the machine again and set it on the bar.
Right. And maybe it won't send it off the end of the bar like a human could.
Or like a cranky person did one time, sitting at the table, and the cup landed with a sonic boom that I thought cracked the mug. So I don't remember if I ever saw that person there again. But anyway, Bacardi is expanding his global training initiative called Shake Your Moneymaker. They should have called it that. Shake Your Moneymaker.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's Shake Your Future. The program, free of charge for those selected, bestows its graduates with an international bartender certification and has pledged to mint 10,000 mixologists by 2030.
Okay.
So there's more over here in this article, but I won't even get into it because we talk about this stuff often enough. AI is coming for pretty much every entry-level job that exists.
And every professional job that exists.
Yeah.
But maybe not as quickly.
What's the name of the order taker at Bojangles? What was the name of it? Bo.
Oh, I don't know the name.
What is her name? It's like a riff off of Bo, too. But it's not Bo.
Belinda.
Belinda, yeah. So it's like Bojangles, Belinda. So Belinda is the order taker at the drive-through of Bojangles. And just the other day when I went through, it messed up my order.
Uh-oh.
And the humans didn't know because it was the machine, right? So as long as I said, yeah, that sounds right at the confirmation, then it is what it is. But so I went recently because I was asked to go and get something, and it was a human taking my order again.
Okay, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, so I certainly believe that AI is going to be taking a lot of frontline jobs and more subject matter expert jobs, because it's really the non-physical space that's getting taken out immediately. Subject matter experts are only subject matter experts if they have something that the AI cannot facilitate. And right now, the one thing that they can't facilitate is efficacy. So I can ask my deep learning or my deep research AI to go off and search for a bunch of material. I don't know if it's valid unless I audit everything that gets summarized. So.
Right. So then you're basically doing the research yourself.
Right. So are your bartenders going to get replaced? I think 10,000 new mixologists are going to hit the ground and go, thank you for making me a mixologist, but I can't find a job.
Yeah, that's quite possible.
Let's keep going. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Andor creator Tony Gilroy says Disney has a new Star Wars horror project in the works. Star Wars horror.
I mean, this is not something I expected attached to Star Wars.
Yep. Disney is apparently working on a Star Wars horror project, according to Andor creator Tony Gilroy. The showrunner spoke to Business Insider on the red carpet for Andor Season 2. Gilroy previously suggested that Star Wars franchise should expand into other genres. So the article is by Eamon Jacobs over at businessinsider.com. And I love the idea of this because what else in the world is there for Star Wars? Like The Mandalorian was one thing that wasn't horror. It wasn't really gritty. It was limited. Like it reached a certain point and then stopped. And I want more world building. Boba Fett wet the bed entirely and made Boba Fett basically the antithesis of a bounty hunter. I did not like it, but maybe that's canon. I didn't read books about Boba Fett. So,
but weren't all of these in the same general genre?
They're all in the same. Yeah, Star Wars is in the space opera genre of world building. So you don't see much in terms of horror, but there has to be something else out there, right? There has to be horror like.
Yeah, but this is one of these things that has such a dedicated audience and also is perceived, although it is not, as like kid friendly.
Yeah, family friendly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they say they didn't see.
I think this is an interesting twist for them.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see what actually happens. I hope that they actually bring it forward. Rogue One, a Star Wars story, was an episode that kind of gave the beginning before the Death Star was actually destroyed and how they got the plans. That's what Rogue One, a Star Wars story, is all about. It says the political thriller focuses on the growing rebellion against the Empire in the years before 2016's Rogue Empire, and that's Andor. It's another Star Wars project, just like they mentioned Mandalorian above, and I'm sure that they mentioned Boba Fett somewhere in here. No, they don't. But I want to see more world building. I want to see something that kind of grounds this again and again and again and builds the world, because all we have are the movies, and the movies, I think, are the exact same stories over and over and over and over again.
I do too, but don't tell anybody who likes Star Wars.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fun watch, don't get me wrong. So the first season of Andor was released in 2022. It was met with widespread critical acclaim and earned a 96% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. But that's not what this is about. This is about a horror version of Star Wars.
Yeah, but it's also making the point that Andor went in a little bit different direction than some of the other Star Wars stuff, and I would agree. Right. So while it didn't go to a new genre, it at least branched out a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. And what was the one? The one on the island, the Jedi one. What is it called? I forgot it. Where they discovered the Sith. With the weird
I can't
mask.
think of the name of it. I'm sorry.
I can't remember it either. Oh, wow. That really stood out for us. Anyway, so that one went dark too, but it wasn't horror. Right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, maybe there's like
little tinges.
But yeah, I was going to say light horror elements, but I couldn't even make that statement because I was like, I don't think so. But yeah, I think it's like going in that direction at times. I mean, and just think of things like the whole Darth Vader creation, and just there's other things that you could definitely see being attached to horror if filmed in a slightly different way.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going. The next article is over on Wanted. Juno gave NASA controllers quite the scare during the recent Jupiter flyby. The Intrepid probe entered into safe mode, likely as it flew through Jupiter's radiation belts, kind of freaking out the controllers because they lost control of it. The Intrepid probe entered it into safe mode. Somebody said, I thought I read that its solar panels may have been obscured briefly, and so it shut down. But
okay.
Passant Robbie over at Gizmodo.com put the article together, and it says Juno was making its 71st close approach to Jupiter when it entered a precautionary status twice on April 4th as it was flying by the gas giant. NASA recently revealed it's not clear exactly what caused Juno to go into safe mode, but the space agency believes it may have happened as the spacecraft flew through radiation belts. They basically say that they reestablished transmission with Juno, and the data indicated that the spacecraft went through into safe mode at 5:17 a.m. Eastern, which was about an hour ahead of its scheduled flyby. Juno entered safe mode again about 45 minutes after. What is that? Perigove? Is that the closest point to Jupiter?
I don't know where you are in the article.
Right here.
Yeah.
Perigove. It says, or its close approach to.
Okay. Interesting. I guess that's like.
And like apogee would be its
right, like it's
away.
Like apogee and perigee. I guess that's what it actually sounded like when you said it.
So during safe mode, non-essential functions on the spacecraft are suspended. Juno powered down its science instruments while keeping its communication and power management systems on. The spacecraft rebooted its computer and pointed its antennas toward Earth for communication. I'm going to blame aliens. I'm going to say aliens got really close.
Well, I looked up because I didn't know how long this mission had been going. It started in 2011. It was supposed to be done in 2021. But it's extended through 2025, so this might be a foretelling of the end of the mission.
Oh, like it's starting to break down?
Maybe.
Interesting. Juno boasts a titanium radiation vault to block high energy particles from impacting the spacecraft, but that's sometimes not enough. The spacecraft went into safe mode 4 times since arriving at Jupiter in 2016. After reestablishing communication with Juno, the team is working to transmit the data collected before and after it entered safe mode as the spacecraft conducts flight software diagnostics, according to NASA.
This is a tough thing, though. Like, what if this was the first flyby or something and it went into safe mode? And you'd be like, no, we've been planning this for years.
There's supposed to be I read a headline just recently about there's some moon around Jupiter that nobody really knows about. And now I'm going to have to go back. We just don't know what we don't know.
One that Io, I don't know how much they know about it, but they're about to do a flyby of that. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, it's not Io though. Yeah. So it's going to be flying by on March 7th, another flyby of Jupiter, during which it's May 7th. What did I say? June 7th?
You said March.
No. Oh, I'm getting old. May 7th, during which it's set to carry out a close approach of the Jovian moon Io at a distance of about 55,300 miles or 89,000 kilometers. Hopefully the spacecraft manages to keep its science instruments turned on this time. Wow, throwing shade at something millions of miles away.
And way beyond its original mission. I mean, we should go, wow, it was only supposed to do all these things, and now it's done way beyond that.
Way past it. A lot of our stuff seems to do that, as long as it's not made by Boeing. The next article is over in Technology Today. San Diego County seeks a new policy to govern use of AI. With artificial intelligence already affecting nearly every aspect of people's lives, San Diego County supervisors want a formal policy that spells out how staff will use or avoid the technology. Jeff McDonald over at techexplore.com put the article together. And let me zoom in a little bit there. So the Board of Supervisors directed top county officials to study what policy changes should be enacted to contend with AI as the machine learning technology pushes further into everyday life. We've already seen a court case where somebody had a proxy AI in stand in only to draw the ire of the judges on the panel, which was I thought was fascinating.
Yeah,
Apparently,
it was. That raised a whole
apparently,
lot of other issues.
yeah, apparently you're not allowed to have a proxy unless it gets vetted first, I'm sure. But they didn't do that. They were like, well, it's me. It just isn't me. It's my AI speaking the words that I gave it. And you're cutting in and out now. So, among other things, the new framework, it's just your connection because of the air gap. You're stuttering, but not the audio so bad. Anyway, so don't disconnect. Just monitor your connection. So, among other things, the new framework will spell out how the county will deploy AI, and more specifically, how employees and constituents will be can be protected in terms of personal data, direct services, and labor agreements. But I'm telling you, AI, yeah, you're cutting out. AI is definitely going to be impacting first line workers, even in that area, because what's going to end up happening is people are going to start interacting with AI and its reliability is just exponentially increasing. It's smarter than the average person. It's better at handling multitudes of tasks than the average person. It has all of the world's knowledge at its fingertips. And when it does skip a beat, it hallucinates fact that most people will swallow hook, line, and sinker. It doesn't need to be fed. It just needs more data and more data and more data. And it's getting it.
That's what it's gobbling up. Literally lost my train of thought there. So I think it's interesting. Watch this county figures all this out when other larger organizations can't or won't do anything about it. I mean, it's just very interesting because there's so many levels here that are impacted by AI.
Yeah, they say AI technologies must be leveraged strategically to improve service delivery without compromising equity, privacy, or public trust. Anderson told his board colleagues in a report before the vote to move forward with the study, but you're not going to get equity with AI because the objective of AI is to remove the human component in its plurality. You would have one person managing a whole bunch of AI agents. Like right now, I'm working on something to try and get research done using AI by simply putting in a topic because I'm so interested in so many different things. I want to grab as much data as possible, distill it down to something like a Cliff's Notes type of setup, but have all of the citations so that I can sit there and parse it at my leisure if I find something interesting in the summaries. But it's posing to be quite a chore using common off-the-shelf items. So it's definitely not going to facilitate privacy, and it's going to weaken public trust up until everybody buys into AI's efficacy, that it is a solution that is viable. And then it's going to swing the other way. People will trust AI more than they'll trust the humans because the humans have bias, but the AIs supposedly do not, even though they're powered
even
by
though
humans.
they were coded by humans.
Yeah, and trained on human actions. And
I don't feel like they will trust AI though, because the initial rollout, while still impressive when you consider where it's been, a lot of people are familiar with it hallucinating. And if that's what they start out with, I don't think they suddenly think, okay, everything's working.
maybe not in the next 5 years, but I see it happening. Our fear right now, primarily in professional and academic circles, is the hallucination and the fear of taking jobs. All the rest, nothing else matters. The ethics of it and all of that kind of stuff, it's all pegged to the fear of taking jobs. And I would say that a lot of people, once they're told and described and given a chance to interact with the power of AI, they would leverage it for their particular use while still vilifying it for the threat that it poses to them as a human.
Absolutely. I mean, we all want the advantages of it, but none of the downsides.
Right. Yeah. Nobody bitches when there's irrational growth in the market, but everybody starts pointing fingers when there's an irrational contraction, or market manipulation, insider trading, stuff like that. Well, put into place the breakers and the rules and make sure that everybody abides by them. And those who don't abide by them get the frick out. And they're not allowed to abuse the world around them. But that's not what's happening based on my research and the utter rise of sociopathy. So artificial intelligence is already disrupting numerous sectors across society. And there's more in this article that goes on to kind of reiterate that kind of stuff. But their statement of we need a policy that will do no harm and this needs to be developed thoughtfully, it's irrational. It's not pragmatic at all. I don't see AI doing nothing but good, because for it to increase quality of life for people, it's going to have to take the jobs of people.
Well, that's true. I don't disagree with the idea of that, but it's not going to be feasible.
Yeah, I mean, even doctors have to hurt people to heal them. It isn't a painless task to reset a bone or to cure cancer, heal someone of cancer. Even the instances of it, you have to bombard somebody with chemotherapy or other treatments. There's all kinds of stuff that leads to a simple injection is painful for some, but it's healing at the end of the day. So it's not even a rational thought to say do no harm. There will be harm because that's what AI really does.
Minimize harm would be a little bit more accurate.
Yeah, mitigate future harm. All right, let's keep on going. The next article is over in the Mobile channel. Monet's stepdaughter painted breathtaking impressionist masterpieces, and they're finally getting the attention they deserve. All it takes is everybody to die, and then it's suddenly famous. Known as the Forgotten Monet, Blanche Hochstedt Monet, I guess. I don't know how they pronounce that first name there. Created roughly 300 stunning artworks. She's now getting her first ever solo exhibition in the United States. So, stepdaughter, are they still alive? I don't know. Ellie Wizovich is is a history correspondent. I merged history and correspondent into correspondent.
Sorry, Eli.
Yeah, Eli Wizovich is a history correspondent for Smithsonian Magazine or SmithsonianMag.com. So this is apparently Blanche's impressionist painting of hay bales, haystacks. That looks a lot like a Monet.
It really does. And of course, like all the old masters as labeled in art, right. This is pretty interesting. There were no women as far as I know.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know enough history to... I'm not an artologist, so I can't challenge that statement.
Clearly based on your recent terminology.
Few names are as evocative as Claude Monet, the French artist known for swirling paintings of rivers, gardens, flowers, fields that would come to define the Impressionist movement. This is really cool. That's another one? No, that's somebody else. No, that's theirs too.
No, it's
right
the
there.
same artist.
It's very much.
But that one's more realistic looking, at least from this screenshot.
From this distance. Yeah, it's really small. So if we got closer, ArtNet's Karen Chernick wrote, "Not in the shadow, but in the light of Claude Monet, her brother Jean-Pierre Hochede wrote, according to ArtNet's Karen Chernick. However, her legacy has long been overlooked. Of her roughly 300 works, most remain in private hands. The Musée d'Orsay which boasts the largest collection of Impressionist art in the world, only has 2 of her paintings, neither of which are on view, per the BBC's Lucy Davies. Lucy Davies. American public collections have only 1, while British public collections don't have any, aside from the Musée Blanche Hochstedt and Monet, a regional museum in Vernon, France. Recently renamed in her honor. Many museums and critics have relegated her to Monet's long shadow. Well, I mean, it's very Monet-like, at least in my observation, but
it sure seems to be at least a similar. I mean, you could almost say, oh, that's Monet's, right? And Claude Monet.
Right. So when his daughter was just 11, Hochstedt commissioned Monet to paint decorative panels at the family's country house. Quote, I remember his arrival. He was introduced to me as a great artist. He had long hair, Hochstedt Monet wrote years later, per the BBC. Quote, that struck me and I immediately had sympathy for him because we could tell he was fond of children. Because he had long hair? That was weird.
Yeah, I feel like we're missing something in that quotation.
A whole murder board needs to be put together to try and triangulate how you got to those 2 statements, but okay. So not long after they completed the work, Hochstedt family fell into financial ruin and sold off most of the Impressionist art collection in both of his houses. In a magnanimous gesture, Monet allowed Ernest, Alice, and their 6 children to move in with him, his wife, and their 2 sons in Vetoul. I don't know how to pronounce that properly. Vetouillet? I don't know. Northwest of Paris. Monet's wife, Camille, died from postpartum complications soon thereafter, and Ernest became estranged from his wife, Alice. The 2 remaining adults in the large blended family, Alice and Monet, entered what we believed was a domestic partnership for years until they finally married in 1892. So very interesting. There's a lot more over at this article. I don't want to take all of the wind out of the sails, but this all looks very, very Monet.
Does that look like Claude Monet?
Well, who's painting it?
Claude Monet. I don't know if you saw the tagline. I saw that as she scrolled by.
So yeah, Claude Monet's 1887 depiction of Blanche. While her younger sister
I just thought that was an interesting touch in the article because we were comparing the other way.
It just kind of plops it down there. I mean, even to me, like the brush strokes on this are bold, much more bold.
More defined, right?
Right. But when you look at this one here, maybe the intent was to be more pastel and soft, but you can actually see the little, the brush strikes on the canvas, and they're very reminiscent of.
Well, the weird thing is, I think that painting at the top looks what we think of Claude Monet style, and the one at the bottom we could distinguish a little bit, but we've got them reversed.
Right. Pretty interesting, huh? Well, anyway, go and check it out yourself, then come back and talk with us about what you think of this article if you're interested in this kind of art. So let's move on. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. You can run Doom on the $666 collector's edition box. Yes, this collection's packaging plays Doom. Pardon me. Will it run Doom? The question that has challenged tinkerers and hardware hackers for years. It's come full circle. Limited Run Games has announced a new collector's edition of the iconic first-person shooter that ships in a box that it itself can play Doom on a built-in screen. That's interesting. So it must have like a Raspberry Pi in here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't think a box in and of itself will play it.
Yeah, they have these little cutouts that show computer guts, but I don't know what it is. We'll see when we get into the article. Andrew Lazuski over at TheVerge.com put the article together. There's no deck statement. I mean, it says Limited Run Games making that. Just, oh, okay, wait. It's a $666 collector's edition box. It's a limited run of 666 copies of its Doom and Doom 2 Will It Run edition collection. All right, kind of leaning really hard on the whole Doom thing.
Right.
So
I
it
think we
announced
definitely are not saying doom enough.
doom, 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 doom. We're doomers. So although a $30 standard edition and $100 big box edition will also be available, the $666.66 unit for 666 units, it says it would be, when asked if the steep but fitting price would be affected by tariffs, Alex Very, the LRG spokesperson, told The Verge in an email, "I do not believe there are any plans at this time to change the pricing due to tariffs." Because they would have to make it 6,600.
Yeah, they want it to be a specific number.
So pre-orders are starting today. No, next week, April 18th at 10 a.m. Eastern. So how are they making this work? I'm really curious. Do they actually say? No.
It just sounds like they have other details.
Yeah, maybe on the website itself, it just says that it's limited to this and that. But there is a computer inside it. You can actually see what looks like a PCB. It could be as simple as a Raspberry Pi. But pretty cool. I kind of dig this. I won't buy it, but I don't like to live in the past. So even nostalgia doesn't drive me to play Doom. I'll just buy the modern version of it and play it on a PC.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I can't find any detail real quickly about how it runs.
Yes. Yeah, we'll find out about it and we'll talk about it later. So this is the PSA portion of our show where I say, or we say to everybody, secure your damn penguins. Because a helicopter crash was blamed on an unsecured penguin in a box. South Africa, home to a recent animal-related story that they reported wherein orcas are single-handedly upending the food chain in the waters, is now home to another animal story where a rogue penguin... I'm tired of these penguins on these mother-flipping helicopters.
Is that going to be the sequel?
Penguins that is on the sequel. Yeah, it's the budget Penguins on a Plane. Just smile and nod. Just smile and nod. What? Did you throw an error message at me?
No.
No. So Louis Prada...
I think I was connecting it. The timing of this article is perhaps not the best, so...
Oh, because there's something else that went down.
Yeah.
We're not talking about that. Anyway, Louis Prada over at Vice.com put this article together, and no, it doesn't. This penguin didn't have anything to do with that other helicopter incident. So before you go off on some flight of fancy, imagining a penguin with a gun holding a commercial airliner hostage before taking the wheel and slamming a jet into the ground while negotiators refuse to pay him a ransom of 1 billion fish, there is, believe it or not, kind of a reasonable explanation for all of this. And it's extremely stupid, but reasonable in an extremely stupid kind of way, according to Louis Prada. Apparently, an unsecured penguin riding shotgun in a cardboard box on a passenger's lap slid off the lap of a penguin specialist, bumped into the cyclic pitch control, the stick that tells the helicopter which way is go, and sent it veering wildly to the ground, or to the right.
Doesn't this sound like the thing where the flight attendant hit the...
Yeah.
I forgot what it's called, but basically, yes. Yeah,
there was a...
Yes, the food cart.
Yeah, there was an instance where the one of the flight crew was brought food, and when they backed up, they hit what is basically a fast release button for the pilot seat, and that shot them back, and they lost control of the plane while they were getting their, I don't know, egos or whatever. So, the story would not be nearly as funny if everyone in the Penguin had died. Thankfully, we can let out a hearty laugh because everyone miraculously survived. Not only that, but no one was even hurt, including the Penguin. So that's where I'm just going to leave this whole show. So the quote here at the very end is exactly what I said, except with colorful language. I didn't know that that's what they were actually going to write.
I know.
And please, stop effing carrying goddamn effing penguins in an effing box on your goddamn effing lap, when you're lifting off in an effing helicopter, you effing idiot.
I find it fascinating that the Aviation Authority released a report saying that you shouldn't store your penguin in a cardboard box for a flight. Like, when is that ever going to happen again?
Yeah, they confirmed that cardboard boxes are not a suitable form of penguin containment during flight. It's like a Ghostbusters thing.
Oh, right. It's like that box that they were trying to put the ghosts in.
Mm-hmm.
At least that was enclosed. I mean, you don't want to put an animal in a totally enclosed space, but it's just such a weird thing. It's like, don't walk a cow down the street.
You have to punch holes. Oh, yes. Yeah, that's a dumb law, too. That's a law that still is on the books, apparently, somewhere in Texas. Like, you're not allowed to walk a cow down Main Street on Sundays or something, too. Something specific.
Right. This is reminiscent of it. I bet there's a new law about that. Like, nobody will ever run afoul of.
So I finally figured out what's going on with our stream right now. And so I'm glad we're at the end of the show. So at any rate, that is it. We are done. I am Mayor Watt. I'm going to let my penguin free, and that's going to bring us back to the front page of ohmTown.com, where you should go and become a citizen, sign up, sign in, become a friend, and a citizen of ohmTown.com whenever you get a chance. Thank you very much for coming. See you later. I'm taking the AI with me.
Bye-bye, ohmTown citizens. Thanks for joining us for today's Non Sequitur News. And be back tomorrow for Weekend Edition.
Yeah, this is going to be sad when I hit this, because it's going to go bleh, 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 like I am right now. See you, everybody. Bye-bye. Oh, it's not even going to go. Bye-bye.